That's live on Facebook. There's a 10th, right?
Yeah, 10th.
Yeah. I'm on already.
Okay, it says preparing the live stream. Setting up. Done. So I think we are officially live.
Good evening. I'm Jerry McIntosh, and this is Our Voices, the People's Media. Tonight, we're going to address the State of the Union speech and what it means to you and how was it delivered. We're going to talk about that and also the response to that speech as well. So we're going to talk about that and other hot topics. First, we're going to honor our women on the show tonight, Jill and Christina and others that come on. We want to honor you. We thank you. This is Women History Month, and we want to thank all of the women. We want to honor all the women of the world, but Black women in particular. We have carried the load of everybody in this country and around the world. So we honor you. Eric. Oh, let me.
Okay, good evening.
Let me go around it. I guess I need to introduce everybody. Well, next we go to our hostess, Derek Scott, who is with the Scamming Democrat Party, with the chair here. Jill Lewis Daggs, who is with the Okaloosa, who is the Okaloosa State Committee woman. Well, Bill Snow, who is the author of the great book From the Project to the Boardroom, and Mr. Vernon Watson, where you'll be watching this show. If you're watching it on television, WBQP TV, on Roku, Fire Stick, and YouTube, you can just go to the McIntoshPrinciple.com and click on Facebook. And we'll see you right here, starting right now. This is where we inform and transform. So there, we're going to go straight to State of the Union speech and what you think, what y'all thought of.
Well, before we do, I just want to interject for just a moment. Before we do, good evening, everyone. I don't want to forget the segment. As we know, this is Women's History Month, and I know that we honored Jill and Christina and Keontae and Cheryl and all the other women who contribute so greatly to our program. But we did say that we were going to some notable Black women. So I wanted to start off before we jump into the State of the Union to see if we can get sure that everybody is aware of the contributions of Black women in not only America, but this entire globe. And we will start off. I don't know, Mr. McIntosh, if you have wanted to add. If not, I will go, or if so, if not, I will go to Jill.
I'll let you go to Jill then.
Okay, go ahead. Jill, I will start with you.
Well, good evening. It is great to be here, honored and blessed. I'm thinking that Mr. Derek Scott put us on the spot and we're supposed to have some fabulous women that you want us to talk about. And am I correct?
Oh, yes.
Okay, great. So I think what I'm going to do, because I didn't get that memo, but I can talk about some fabulous women. I think we can start with our Vice President, Kamala Harris, and just say thank you. I know we're going to get into the State of the Union later, but the behind the scenes, front of the scenes, around the scenes work that she does is amazing. She doesn't get half the credit that she should. And if Christina was on here, she would give you about 5 million things that Kamala Harris has done, Vice President Kamala Harris has done. And then I want to then transition, and I hope this is okay. What I thought Derek was actually going to say is that I know you honored all these people, but I don't ever, ever think any of us will forget Carol McIntosh, because to me, history in our area and across this state was written by her. And I hope and pray that the rest of us are making her happy while she's in heaven and she's saying, that's my girl, and that's my guy. That's what I wanted y'all to do. I just hope that we can continue to do the hard work that she did, that we will love children like she did, that we will fight for what is right like she did, and that we will, in the rest of our days on earth, continue to strive to do everything that she put in place for us. So I just want to, that's going to be my today. Kamala Harris and Carol McIntosh, phenomenal women.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Mr. Bill, do you have anybody that
man, I
you
want
would
to
like
point
to?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to point towards Fannie Lou Hamer, man. That is my girl, man. They know what they did to us. Look, man, I love me some Fannie Lou. Born October 6, 1917, and lived through March 14th of 1977. American voting and women's rights activist, community organizer, and a leader in the civil rights movement. She was the vice chair of the Freedom Democratic Party. She was represented at the 1964 Democratic National Convention. Hamer also organized Mississippi's Freedom Summer along with the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. She was also co-founder of the National Women Political Caucus, an organization created to recruit, train, and support women of all races who will seek election to government office. Now, the story goes that as she was in sort of a sharecrop position, she went down to register to vote as a young lady. And when she got home, the guy that she was working for gave her an ultimatum. He asked her if she went to register to vote? She said she did. He said, well, either you will go and retract your name from the voting list or leave here tonight. Fannie Lou left that night, y'all. Fannie Lou was not a well-educated lady, but sometimes it doesn't take education, just guts and courage. And I love me some Fannie Lou. So I want to highlight Fannie Lou Hamer. I saved that video. Our blood is in the soil. They know what they done to us. I love Fannie Lou.
She was an awesome lady. I remember her testifying at the 68 or 67 Democrat convention. She was awesome. And that's when Johnson got up and decided, well, you know, I got to cut this short. So he got up and made him some kind of speech until she went off, until they stopped covering her. But she was an awesome lady.
Absolutely. I think for me, as you heard me talk about it last week, I am now, I won't say fully over, but I am getting over my bout with COVID-19. And, although I want to say I never want to go through that again. That was a one-time only experience for me, hopefully. Knock on all kinds of wood. But I'm certain, I'm 100% positive that my experience would have been worse if not for T.H. Chan School of Public Health. So it is because of her that a lot of people have been able to um, come out on the other side of this pandemic alive and well. And we certainly owe a lot. This country owes a lot. We as a people owe a lot to her brilliance and her success. So I want to highlight her and say thank you, and our voices salute you. So, and let's see, Mr. Vernon is gone. So I guess we will then move in to, well, before we do that, I'm going to ask
at home and had gone through several different surgeries and heart issues. And I was fortunate to go see her right before she passed away. And I know, I wish, I guess if I could, it's kind of like Miss Carol, you know, when people leave, I guess I wish that we would remember all of the hard work that they put in, and that there is a reason that we should be working together and not against each other. And I wish that people would stop and think before they talk, before they say, before they do, and that you would stop seeing the colors or who they love or whatever you're seeing, and just see the heart and the intent of people, and let us fight for 2024 the way we need to. And then the second thing, a whole different note, is March 23rd. Crestview will have their Triple B, which is their big barbecue thing. You can come in. They have over 10,000 people that show up. It's outside, it's downtown. And if you like barbecue, this is a place to be, because people come from all across the country to come to Crestview, Florida to Triple B. And you get to taste, like you can taste their different briskets, the ribs, the sauce, and you get to vote on it. And they have the people choice for everything. There's groups that come in, Okaloosa Democrats and Black Caucus Caucus and organizations, Environmental Caucus will be there doing voter registration, vote by mail, and of course, getting petitions for our candidate, Gay Valamont, who's running against Matt Gaetz. So we just invite you to join us. It's downtown Crestview, Main Street, 10 to 6 on March 23rd. Thank you so much.
Just Jack, because Jill, I know you're trying to be super, but I don't want anybody to miss in translation what I heard. Or even if you didn't say it, I'm going to say it. If you find yourself to be a bigot or a racist or a homophobic in this good Northwest Florida Democratic Party, whether you're in Escambia or Santa Rosa or Okaloosa, find you somewhere else to go and other people to play with, because this is not the time for it. You know, we have things that we're all trying to do. We're in the fight of our lives, and nobody has time to be dealing with people who have difficulty with Black leadership, or people who hold people accountable for bigotry and racism. Nobody has time for it. Nobody's going to deal with it. We're here to stay. We're doing the work, and we're going to do the work either with you or without you. Sorry if that's not what you were saying, Jill. I think, but that's what I heard you say, and I'm just going to say it a little different.
That's what
just so it's clear.
I wasn't saying it like that. Yes, what I would say is,
that's why
it is. Go ahead. It's 2024. And you can't on one side say you're fighting for something and you're with people for something and that you care about everybody. And then on the other side, the fact that you see this screen right here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 African-American people on it is making you tortured. I don't even know. That to me is crazy. But what I am saying is this: it's 2024 and we have the fight of our life. Everybody. I don't care what you look like. I don't care who you love. If you live in the United States of America, 2024 is the fight of your life. I need you to take all of your issues and your concerns, who you like, who you don't like, who you love, who you don't love. I don't even care anymore. What I need you to do is to agree to work and to vote and to educate your friends and your family. And then on November 7th, if you want to go back to not liking and being whoever you really are, that's fine. But if you're going to work, I'm not going to say if you're going to, we're calling everybody. We're requiring everybody to put all that mess aside and work. Or like Derek said, move out of the freaking way. Because we're going to continue to do what we have to do to make sure that our lives, our parents' lives, our children's lives, our grandchildren's lives, and everyone around us is going to be okay. And if you're not on that bus, get the freak out of the way. Okay, I'm done. I'm sorry, Jerry.
You're good.
Jill said come back in November. I say go on someplace. To jump off a cliff. I don't really care. Just get out of the way, because it's not going to stop in 2024. We got 2025, and they're on, and therefore you got to fight. So again, you can go back to hating folks that don't like Black skin or being tortured because you see Black faces on the screen. If you're that tortured, go sit someplace else. Going over to, I'm sure the Republican Party would love to have you be an NPA. I don't care, but these Black faces who are doing the work are here to stay. So I'm sorry about that. I just heard you say something and I wasn't clear with it. So that's all I wanted to do. Mr. Bill, do you have something you want to you want to share? I don't know. I've gotten something right.
Yeah, I want to venture all the way up to Omaha, Nebraska, where in September 22nd of 2022, Malcolm X was inducted into the Nebraska Hall of Fame. And in May 22nd of this year, he will have an actual bust there in the State House in Nebraska. So I just wanted to get that out there. Proud of our man, Malcolm. I was riding with a client, speaking with him just the other day, and he was telling me how he really think that Martin Luther the King was a prophet, and I agree. But he went on to say he didn't quite understand, doesn't know what to think about Malcolm, because Malcolm preached violence. And I said, no, Malcolm did not preach violence. Malcolm preached that if they come at us with violence, we will respond with violence. So great man, Malcolm X, born Malcolm Little, Nebraska, Omaha, Nebraska, bust in the State House. That's huge, y'all.
You know, Malcolm X never was violent about anything. He spoke truth that in ways that people didn't like, but he was never violent. He was a great orator who reached people where they were, and he went out in the streets to reach people where they were, and went out his way to do so. Malcolm was a powerful speaker. He addressed issues that other people didn't address in their speeches, and he didn't mind addressing those issues, and he didn't mind telling it like it was about those issues that he was addressing. So that's why they eventually killed him. And you know, the thing about it, when people talk about violence, all of these men and women died a violent death, who did nothing to nobody except try to uplift Black people and try to make sure we had access to equal justice and equal rights in the country.
While you're right there, Brother Jerry, he did allude to the fact that when he said Malcolm was violent, I said, no, man, America is violent. Yes. And he quickly agreed. But I just want to play angel's advocate here and say that he did, by the time we got to our destination, said that he would go back and read up on Malcolm and see if he can't get a better understanding. So, yeah.
Yeah, because, you know, it was the media that distorted what Malcolm X was saying. They did the same thing with Martin Luther King. They did the same thing with Medgar Evers. They did the same thing with all of the other leaders going back to Marcus Garvey. Accuse them, belittle them, and make people turn against them. Then they kill them.
Call them communists, everything.
Yeah. So
you know the strange thing about it though. All of the violence that committed by white people in this world, Ku Klux Klan, police brutality, on and on and on and on and on. You know, vigilantes.
Mm-hmm.
You never
police.
Yeah, police. That's it. Police.
FBI, CIA. We can go on and on. We got you.
Yeah, but you never hear them talk about violence when it comes to those organizations. Okay, I wonder why when they just naturally violent organizations. They don't even, you know, we don't in the United States of America as much as terrorism has been going on in the United States, and Black people have been terrorized from day one. Okay, they refuse to ignore that we have internal terrorism in the United States, and it just shows you that as a country, we live in a lie. We're just living a lie. I think if we were to own up to and face up to our realities and work forward from there, but they want to protect lies. They want to protect something that's not real and present this, what they call it, the shiny hill, shiny hill on the
city on the hill.
Yeah, the shiny city on the hill, which is made out of nothing but a deck of cards. That's all it is.
Right.
So
you're right, Vernon. In God we trust. They started that lie way back when America is a lie.
Yeah, America is a lie.
Again, you talk about why you don't know why they want to overlook their violent tendencies. You know, I think it's more of they want to paint people of color to be subhuman, and with that we become violent and we're aggressive and we're this. You know, I hear it. You know, I literally hear people send emails talking about people are attacking them and they feel the attack and all this other stuff. No, but you don't say anything about the craziness that you say and do when you do it. But if somebody of color responds, "Oh Lord, I'm attacked. Oh Lord, I feel, I'm scared." See, I guess I'm a little different because the way I work sometimes. You say you're scared. I want to give you a reason to be scared. I want to fulfill your prophecy at times, but that again. That's just me, and I'm not built for this type stuff. But again, it's this wanting to paint Black people in such a negative light, and to consider themselves, when you look at the history of you know of aggression and violence, I don't think historically you can see us at the forefront of that. But when you look at how America again was founded and how Native Americans were brutalized and murdered, and then their land is suddenly claimed as not their land, as somebody else's land. It begs the question, like, well, wait a minute. I'm a little bit, call me confused. I get it. Christina, hello. How are you today?
I am great. Hello to everybody. And Bill Snow, great to see you after the trip to Selma. I definitely want to thank Gay Bellamont for all she did for our trip to Selma and actually marching with us, and bringing so many of her team with us and sponsoring all the food for our trip to Selma. That's it. I love it. Yes. Protect our vote. And so we got into some good trouble, and just glad to be back.
Well, good. As I wanted to just make sure that you had the opportunity. We did two things. If we highlighted someone of any Black notable woman that you wanted to highlight in honor of Women's History Month, and spoiler alert, your favorite VP has already been taken, so you would have to pick someone else if you wanted to do so. I would say you probably have your best friend to think about that. She beat you to it. So, and secondly, after that, if there was anything that you wanted people to know, that's good. I'm assuming you'll want to share about the delegates, anything that you want people to know.
Oh, well, thank you for that opportunity. And I want to give a huge shout out to my sister, Jill Lewis Daggs, for talking about VP Harris. I missed it, so I'm going to have to go back and listen because, that's my heart. And we actually got to see her speak in Selma. So to be there on my birthday, to get to hear the vice president speak was absolutely, absolutely phenomenal. So yes, big shout out, big hearts going out to VP Kamala Harris. So just absolutely phenomenal. So the person who I had chosen was actually somebody I didn't know a lot about. And please forgive me for being late. I didn't get to hear who everyone else talked about. But Daisy Bates was somebody I was researching and didn't know a lot about her, and have just, the deeper and deeper I study about her, I'm just amazed at her life, her work, and what she did. She was instrumental in Arkansas with the 9 from Little Rock for desegregation. She was the president of the NAACP. She actually had her own paper. And so Vernon Watson, that actually made me think of you and the importance of Black media, and how much can get accomplished when we control the narrative. And she was just absolutely amazing. And then going deeper and learning about her early life, she was fostered and adopted actually by a friend of her mother's. Her mother was brutally killed, assaulted, and the people who did that never served justice. She was abandoned by her father, and to go through that and then the love she developed with her adoptive family, and how that mentorship steered her on a course to actually change our entire nation from where she started, was just an incredible, incredible story. So Miss Daisy Bates is the person I would like to highlight for today. So thank you for that opportunity. As far as myself, I am humbly asking for your vote. I'm going to be running. I am running to be a delegate. Voting will be on April 20th. There's a location in Niceville and a location in Pensacola. Voting will be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You have the opportunity to elect 2 women and 2 men. And I want to be one of those going forward. I am strongly behind. I'm all on board with the Biden-Harris administration. I have been from the start. This is my love, my passion, and I care about who we are. And I want to see us represented. I want to see us represented at every single level of government, whether that's at the national convention, whether that's in the White House, whether that's in the commissioners, whether that's in the sheriff. I want to see us represented. We need a seat at the table, and I am asking for your vote to please put me forward at that seat at the table.
Great. And when is voting?
So voting is going to be on April 20th. There will be voting from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. At a location in Pensacola. It's going to be at a church in Pensacola, and then the other location will be in Niceville. That's for the entire Congressional District 1. So you don't have to be involved in any club, caucus, part of any group. All you have to do to be able to vote for me is show up between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. at either of those 2 locations. And place your vote for me. You do have to be a registered Democrat, and that's it. There's nothing else you have to do but be a registered Democrat, be able to prove you're a registered Democrat within Congressional District 1. And again, I'm asking for your vote. And if you have any questions about me, my phone number is area code 202-834-7096. I am very transparent. I'm very open. So if you have questions for me, I would love to answer them. And most importantly, I'd love to represent us at that table at the National Convention for Congressional District 1.
And she did a phenomenal job, man, orchestrating the bus, the whole 9 yards, man. I tell you, we got there, man, I was calling Jerry as he was calling me at the same time, man. We finally met up. First Baptist Church had the sign out by the street, chair is still a chair. But I was so disappointed early on when we got there because Christina had this poster, and I was like, oh my God, I got to have one of those. And the lady that was giving them out was completely out. And I was like, man, oh man. And later on, Christina said, that is yours. And fortunately, though, somebody else did come around, and I was able to get one and get hers back. But y'all, man, put it on your calendar. First Sunday in March, man, I felt the spirit of our ancestors, man. That was my first year, and I ought to be ashamed of myself for just getting there. 59 years, that's quite remarkable. But next year, the 60th one, I know it's going to be huge, and I do plan on being there.
It's going to be huge.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Vernon, do you have anything that you wanted to share?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I do. One of the black women in Black history that probably not get enough recognition that I want to honor is Dr. Angela Davis. She's been out there for years and years, and she was a very important person, I think, to the civil rights movement, and did not get her just due. And you know, and one of the things I always was inspired about her, you know, she had this saying about, I'm not I may not get it perfect, I might not quote it right, but but she had this saying about, I'm no longer accepting the things I cannot change. I'm changing the things I cannot accept. So she's a great lady, Dr. Angela Davis, y'all. She turned, I think she's turned 80 years old this year.
Yeah. There was another one they had accused of being violent, and she turned it on too. She turned it on. I met her at Pensacola State College over there years back.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and she was instrumental in getting, prison reform and stuff like that. At least shedding a lot of light on it. So in her time, because you're right, she was the one that was accused of actually accessory to murder, wasn't it, Jerry? I can't remember this Soledad, what was this Soledad thing that they were back in the 80s, I mean in the 60s, 70s.
Yeah, the Soledad brothers.
The Soledad brothers, right.
It was accused of something. They tied it all, a bunch of stuff to her and others, like they did Shakira.
Yeah.
Had to leave and move to Cuba.
Oh, they didn't like the idea. She was probably a member of the Communist Party or something like that, and also tied to the Black Panthers, and they didn't like that idea. They, when it comes to self-righteous, I don't understand. When it was good when white folks can carry guns in the street, but when black folks found out that they could do the same thing, then it all became an issue. Then, okay, when the Black Panther was trying to protect our own community. But go ahead, Jerry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Black Panthers was feeding people. They were winning the hearts and souls of people. They were doing medicine. I mean, they was helping people. They were delivering babies. I mean, just a whole host of things that they did. That now the WIC program and all these other programs that they put together. And they had a 10-point plan, I believe it was, with a lot of different things that was helping Black people. Helping mothers and stuff get their children to school, and that's why so many people were joining it. And the government went after them for feeding people and making sure people were protected. They was fighting against police brutality, which was brutal back then. So all of the things that they were fighting against, they made it as if they were the one was a violent people. Not one, sometimes there was a shootout, but they
initiated it.
The police initiated the shootout. So yeah, and that one time, but they went after the whole Black Panther Party for that one incident.
Yeah. A lot of that was due to that damn Hoover.
Oh yeah, it was all.
I actually had the opportunity to meet Bobby Seale when I was in California. He is still alive, amazing individual. And what was so incredible to me about him was his push for education. And he talked about how every single one of them in the movement learned not only about our own race and our own struggle, but others. And how all of them hold a doctorate degree, and all of them have just, so much personally, and then took that to the community, as they always did. As you were saying, feeding kids and our WIC program is based off of what they were doing in Oakland. And it's just absolutely incredible. And he is incredible. And we have so many living, walking legends among us that I don't think we really realize it. And at least I don't feel like young folks realize it. Like that's something in the past. That's something from a long time ago. Folks are still walking around, just like when we were at Selma and stood at the steps of Brown AME Chapel and listened to the voices of folks who were beaten for trying to vote. Folks are still living and walking around. Folks are aging, but these are the conversations we need to be having. I couldn't have said that any better, Mr. McIntosh.
Yeah, I was gonna say brothers that held their fists up at the
Yeah.
State Olympics. They were there. Juan Carlos and Dr. Smith. They spoke at the banquet. So, I mean, you know, these are people, living legends that's still here. And, you know, oftentimes.
Dr. Tommy Smith was still working with children. My son ran all through high school and was still showing up at these local races and cheering the kids on. And I mean, these are just kids from the local high schools, you know, just cheering them on. He would be there to talk to anybody who wanted to talk to him, sign anything. Wasn't a big production about it. I mean, that's just who he was. He showed up every single time and is still doing it to this day.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
But Jared, I'm glad that, see, that's some of the things that maybe our young folk may not realize, may not understand, but folks like Tommy Smith and John Carlos, when they did that you know, it was a Copenhagen moment back in the 60s, in 1968 Olympics. They were just doing it in protest of the oppression that black folks were suffering in the United States, but they suffered for it. But people sometimes don't always know why these folks are important in history, and they are very important in history. So we need to know about it. That's why Black history is important to us, because we need to teach our kids this stuff.
And that's why you're trying to use the eraser to erase your history.
Yeah,
because they know how powerful it is.
Absolutely.
You ever learn? There's old sayings that they know, we the only one don't know.
Yeah.
I want to take a moment to introduce so we have someone with us today who I thought would be a great addition to share with us. You know, here in Escambia County, we've been talking quite extensively about Malcolm Young, Jim, and trying to save Malcolm Young, Jim. I'm not sure if everybody's aware, but the mayor had it demolished this week. And I asked Jonathan Green to come on and share with us, what happened, how the fight will continue, and what we as Pensacolians can do. So for those who don't know, Jonathan is a native of Pensacola. He currently is employed by the Southern Poverty Law Center, but he's an activist as well. And I am certainly here to say someone who should be running for office in this next election cycle. I'm not sure why he's not, but we'll save that conversation for another day. But Jonathan, I'm going to turn it over to you. Welcome, thank you, and share with us, please, if you can.
No, and thank you all for letting me be here and be in this space. And it's good to be back. I was in New Jersey the past 2 years with the New Jersey Attorney General's Office, Division of Civil Rights, and was able to come back. I'm with Southern Poverty, like you said, the Alabama State Office. And once again, thank you all for letting me be here, Brother McIntosh, Brother Scott. Always a pleasure working with you all and other comrades on here. Pleasure being here. So really just getting straight into it. The Malcolm Young Community Center was demolished this week, and I think that should concern every single resident of the city of Pensacola, but also Escambia County at large. But being specifically a voting matter that we were trying to bring to referendum ballot through the city charter process, that was circumvented by the mayor and council when it was demolished. I did a pro se action against the mayor and council for a temporary restraining order. So that way, the committee, which I also serve on, of citizens who are electors, could have 60 days, which is allotted by the city charter, for us to gather 10% of the voting elector population in the city of Pensacola from the last election, which that total number of signatures we needed was 4,138 signatures. We're about halfway or a little over halfway there, 30 days in. And if this building, Malcolm Young Center, has been up for over 60 years, why could you not have waited 30 more days? And also from that, I would be highly concerned just as a resident because we see the privatization of community property, public property. We see community centers that have been closed from Sanders Beach Community Center, Bayview Park Community Center. Those are now both event centers that the average person has to pay a reservation rental fee and a deposit. And there's really rarely any public spaces for our kids to go to. Another reason this should be alarming, our First Amendment right, federal Constitution, U.S. Constitution, our federal right according to the state of Florida Constitution, and our First Amendment right just from the charter grievance process to redress our grievances through protest and petition, and our right to assemble the community. This is the most basic function that we were trying to do through the political processes, and the mayor made a hasty decision. And I would also, in all of this paper trail, the reason this has me so active in this moment, the paper trail is so obviously blatant at what's going on, not just with gentrification, but the limited structural assessment that the mayor and council relied on called for a full assessment to be done. And the way a full assessment had to be done, according to the limited assessment, was for the arches to be repaired, for the full assessment to be able to be completed. The arches weren't repaired, so no full assessment was completed. The limited assessment says this is not an assessment to be able to determine the outcome of that structure. Why? Because it said the full assessment will determine whether it should be repaired, demolished, or rebuilt. So now that the city has already acted to demolish, it can't be repaired. And I think going through with the referendum process, continuing these last 30 days, showing we are going to get that 4,138 signatures plus is our goal, that we could have collected those signatures in that time, and that the mayor and the council ignored not only our ability to have, we shouldn't have even had to go through the court process to get a temporary restraining order, which that's still going through its processes. That is not dismissed. But the fact that the city charter allows us this as just the city charter is essentially like a local constitution. And they said the voters' voice does not matter.
So, Jonathan, when you get the signatures, what would be the next step?
So, and there's a variety of steps in this. So, really, the signatures are, and what's important to realize is the reason we are able to collect signatures is because the 10-person committee of citizens that are made up of electors of the city, we filed a certified affidavit with the city clerk that was filed to give us a referendum ballot to collect the signatures. They ignored the fact that we even filed it. And there's certain things, implied powers that government has, things they're supposed to do, well, express powers are things they're supposed to do, and implied powers. It is implied that you will not tear down a building if we're trying to turn your action over through our protesting of it through this process. So once again, I'd be very concerned if I was a city voter with the government officials acting on their own behalf for whatever private interest they may have in these decisions they're making. And really what this action is so that another Sanders Beach doesn't happen, another Bayview Park. You put $11 million into Bayview Community Center and you tear down a community center that is historic, and the arches could have been repaired for less than $250,000. You pulled out a $3 million number from nowhere, and I know it's from nowhere because the limited structural assessment said for the full assessment to be done. And that's another reason of concern as well. When it was going to be voted on to fund the repair for the arches so the full repair could be done, it was switched on the agenda for the demolition to occur. The public didn't have notice. How do you just switch an agenda item for such a large decision with no notice? And then you decide to demo it. And then the next meeting, you're deciding the funding for the contract being approved. And this is where all of this stemmed from. How do you move so hastily and even so directly to say, we don't care about your opinion, even if you don't like our actions? So,
Look, yeah, go ahead, Vern.
I, you know, I was really shocked. I must have been Wednesday when they tore it down, and I never seen anything so quickly, so fast in a city government. I mean, I thought contracts had to be let and all that other kinds of stuff to get it to get it done, and it kind of reminded me of when somebody trying to cover up a murder and they go ahead and hurry up and have somebody cremated so you can. So I don't know. I didn't understand what the rush. I mean, like I said, the building had been sitting there for 60 years. So
and this is a valid point, Mr. Watson, because there could be a health concern from this, because I don't know that the city necessarily followed all proper procedures and protocols that are supposed to be followed for something like this. This building, yes, we know they and we saw the record of the Florida Department of Environmental Protection was contacted for the asbestos aspects. But what about the EPA, the federal EPA, and the fact that lead-based paints and other lead aspects, that no soil testing was done, certain things that are required, that don't happen that fast for you to have done that. So and then the fact, if protocol was not followed according to federal and state standards in those regards, what does that mean for the community just overall with that pile of rubble just sitting there? Because they haven't touched it since what, Wednesday, Thursday.
So are you saying that the rubble is still, they just tore it down and just
we just had a
pile of
candlelight vigil at 6 o'clock and the rubble is still where it's at?
What the hell? You mean to tell me, okay, hold on now, Jonathan, hold on. You mean to tell me, it doesn't make any sense to me, a whole damn pile of rubble will look better than a 60-year-old building standing? Come on now.
And then, so they didn't have if that building was so dangerous, why didn't they have it fenced off before the demolition? So you couldn't access the building.
Right. And why didn't they haul it off immediately? The rubble, haul off. They're just going to tear it down and leave it sitting there for a while. That's mighty fishy to me.
And my little one wanted to come and sit next to me.
I was going to ask Jonathan if there's asbestos in that building and other lead components.
Well, I know they filed the asbestos paperwork with the Florida DEP, the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, but I don't know that anything regarding the lead aspects was done, but I don't know that it was, but I personally haven't seen anything that would indicate that. And based on the age and just based on, things that are public record, I don't know if those processes were properly followed.
And the reason I asked is if this place has had asbestos in it and had a lead toxin in it, and it's raining, it's been raining the last few days. That runoff, how far is that runoff? How far did the runoff go to?
And I think this is a concern when a few years ago, when I ran for mayor, like 2018 timeframe, Escambia County was the 11th most polluted county in the nation. Look up the PNJ article, pnj.com. The 11th most contaminated in the nation. And the way they found that out, because environmental justice is real. The way they found that out is because that runoff from like the Wedgewood area that goes into the groundwater that killed the amoebas that can't grow the algae and plankton and all that stuff properly. And now the smaller fish populations and species are dying. So now there aren't as many large fish and the birds of prey and the larger, and so it's affecting the entire ecosystem, not just humans. in our health problems because we know these grounds haven't been tested for contamination, where the old sewage plant was across from Wahoo, whatever's going on at Malcolm, and whether that does or does not have lead issues. And these are all valid concerns that I think the people deserve answers. Personally, I feel the people are just raising questions, but we're not getting answers.
So right now you're continuing the ballot initiative, correct? And could you please explain what people can do, how they can sign? I know you're still collecting to move to the 4,130, I believe you said, signatures. How can people who have not signed, what can they do? How can they support this initiative? And what are the next steps that you expect to have happen?
And thank you. So SavePensacola.com, essentially, we have to have wet signatures. So you can sign up, someone will come to your residence or to a place that is of convenience for you and get the wet signature, and you have to identify the demographic information of your voter registration. So name, address, zip code. If you have a black trash can, not green, that means you are a city resident, which means you could sign the petition. The black trash can aspect. So, and it'll have a question, your date of birth or voter registration number. Just put your date of birth. Also, is your address in need of change? Like, is it updated? If it's the same address that you've had, you'll check no. If it's new, you'll check yes. But and that's really the process. And if you wanted it to come down, if you wanted to be sold to private, you can, that will be your ability to vote that on the ballot. But if you want it rebuilt, that will be your ability to vote that on the ballot, and that's what we're asking.
My question is, I'm assuming the purpose. What's the purpose of the signature now that they're throwing it down? Maybe I missed that.
So only 30 days of the 60 have passed. So we want to show that if the 60 days were granted, and in that 60 days, we collect the amount of signatures required, being able to show that the haste of the government and tearing it down, not giving us that full amount of time. Now, because the thing is, if we're truly not going to succeed, let us fail. In 30 more days, in those 60 days, we will not have gotten the 4,138 signatures. But that fear of success, we're going to still show we can get those signatures, and that should have come the ballot. That should not have been a governmental decision.
If we were successful in getting those signatures before they tore the building down, what was the result? If we could have gotten the signature, what would happen as a result?
So, and the thing was, those three aspects of the limited structural assessment. Was it able to be repaired? Which now that is demolished, it cannot. So that's off the table. Can it be rebuilt, or is it going to be demolished with some other use? Mm-hmm. I think the sentiment of the community is rebuild. There's this high talk of how much violence and how many activities the youth don't have to engage in, but you keep tearing down areas that they could engage in positive activities instead of sending them out into the abyss of the world with no direction or guidance. So having places of direction and guidance in the community. So our goal is to allow the voters to decide whether to now rebuild or demolish, and let the city continue in their action. And if the voters decide rebuild, community center, and it can look like what's in Bayview. It can look like what's at Sanders Beach. Fricker Center just got internet within the last decade. They just now talking about putting money into it. But the thing was, they're talking about, oh, we had to come to a decision between Dr. Cobb Community Center or the Malcolm Young Community Center. You don't have to pick either or. You can provide for all. You don't have to keep building new structures. You can take money and fund the repair and rehab of all of what we have that exists. Because, you know, when they demolished that, the arches were the last thing standing.
Yeah. Well, Jennifer, once we still got time to get all the signatures, right? Okay.
Correct.
Now, if in fact we are successful in getting all the signatures within the time limit, does that automatically dictates that we can get it on the referendum on the use of the building? By getting, I'm not clear in my head.
Not necessarily the use, but so the city council decision that was made to demolish, um, they're supposed to reconsider that decision if those signatures are had. And if the reconsideration is not overturned, essentially the ballot process, the referendum of the ballot can occur where the voters will essentially be able to have that decision. But the thing is, it's no one person making that decision. Like, our goal is to have the community town halls, the community meetings that will decide the future use of it, not just because the goal is to tear it down to sell to private interests for affordable housing, which and understand the code of affordable housing. Right. Affordable housing is not affordable if you have to provide government subsidies to make it affordable to the average person. In Pensacola, the average person makes less than $35,000 median income. But also, what's affordable when the price of a 2x4 before COVID was about $2 and now is about $8. It's quadrupled in price, the same as the houses. But people are still making the same medium incomes. And then you have the mayor talking in the Wall Street Journal about how Pensacola $1 million home purchases were rare, but now they are so abundant that we're transforming the Gulf Coast with all these $1 million purchases. But who from the local community is buying these $1 million homes on $30,000 salary, $35,000 salary a year? Who in our local community, like, how blatantly distasteful is it to the people who have been lifelong residents here that aren't moving in with their millions to be able to afford this, or who didn't have that historical, familial, generational wealth to be able to be in the position you're in at this moment?
You know that those are code words about affordable and so forth. Affordable is probably affordable to those who can gentrify, not affordable to those who like me and you.
And that's the thing. Affordable. Oh, it's a $400,000 home, but we're going to subsidize the property so that way the developers. And that's the thing. See, people don't understand that Donald Trump 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. It identified opportunity zones in all of the United States. So pretty much all of Lumen Mays district is an opportunity zone that if you develop and don't put a detrimental business, a tanning salon, a liquor store, you get zero taxes if you develop it with a business beneficial to that community. So they are selling it to themselves and then putting the tax incentives to not have to pay. And it's legal. It's your IRS benefit as a business. And they doing it. But also you have to keep in mind, like, all of it. See, this is stuff you're not supposed to say, but I say it. Speak truth to power. That same connection in that regard is no different than the Triumph money. What is it, like $1.3 billion that we're supposed to have from the 5 counties on the Panhandle after the BP oil spill? But why are there no apprenticeship programs to teach the minority communities, the diverse population, since we can't say black and white, to teach the diverse communities how to be the masters in those fields, so that way they can indulge in the contracts of that 1.3 million that got to be expended over the next some odd years till early 2030. But we're excluded from them contracts, and then they're only giving the public-private partnerships to their friends, and they get in government and do it and say it's okay. And then all that 1.3 billion, and we ain't getting none, and we not thinking about it. Come on now. They got it over these 5 counties, and Matt Gates' daddy, Don Gates, was sitting at the head of it. Where do you think he was sending it? Not anything equitable for the community. They built a hangar at Pensacola Airport, and we don't have any airplane mechanics. We don't have Airbus like Mobile. We don't have shipyards building nothing. Y'all built a full hangar, and you know what they use it for? Anytime there's a conservative rally. But it's Triumph money that paid for it.
I'm telling you. So, Jonathan, how many acres is that spot down there?
I could not tell you. But the thing is, you got to think how much money of that bit 1.3 do they still have to spend to be able to train equitable programs so that way that median income in this area isn't that. Because you have to look at too, them demographics don't lie. Navy Federal, you can be this great employer in the area. How many Black supervisors and directors do you have? but we talking about equity, right? No, they like to talk about equality. We don't want to talk about equity.
Right. That's what we should be talking about. The reason I asked that is if it's more than 1 or 2 acres down there, you're talking about a lot of money for developers.
Oh, and please let me say this disclaimer before my 9 to 5. I'm here under J. Garrett Green and Associates, which is the LLC in Pensacola. This has nothing to do with my Southern Poverty Law Center, Alabama State Office role. And for any legal advice, please consult a licensed attorney in your state.
So the reason I was asking about those acres is because if it's 3 or 4 or maybe 5 acres down there, you're talking about hell of a lot of money to be made to tear that down, because they're gonna put apartment complexes, probably condominiums there, which probably start at $1 million.
Well, I keep my ear to the ground. Word on the street is a certain mayor's father who has certain ties to capital in some type of way. Our mayor's sibling, who is his sister, has some type of business that will end up in her hand, that through whatever contracting process that builds up that gentrified area. But at the same time, this is just things I hear from the street. I don't know the validity. Do your own research, my people.
Let some of the city council folks tell it. Let some of the city council folks tell it. He don't even like his daddy. That's the response they get.
We gotta. That's neither here nor there. Let them tell it.
Right.
Hey, what Michelle Obama say? When they go low, we fly high. We don't have to say nothing distasteful, because everybody else who does that will do it.
Well, does anybody have any other questions or comments for Jonathan, or anything that they can say? Certainly, you're welcome to stay with us, Jonathan. I just want to be respectful of your time. I know you have your little one and folks.
Welcome being able to stay, but yeah, my little one, she's coming up on bath time, and I got to get her ready for school in the morning. Yeah. I appreciate my mom for being able to hold her down while I'm over here. So appreciate you all.
Yeah. Again, I'm not going. I'm just going to continue to say it. One of our co-hosts from time to time, Cheryl, says it all the time. If you ask somebody 3 times, maybe they will consider it. I'm going to continue to say,
it's not off the table.
Again, that you need to run for office. And for those who are experiencing Jonathan for the first time, you understand why I say that, and I will continue to say it. But in honor of, I want to say thank you for coming on, but also because it's Women's History Month and we're highlighting notable Black women, I want to give a shout out to your mama, Dee, for raising such a phenomenal person and a very instrumental part to Pensacola and building that. So shout out to Dee. Hey, Dee. And all that other stuff. So we thank you for being with us. Please come back. We'd like to hear more updates. You're welcome to come back whenever you want. And you don't have to come back just for this. Join us for whenever you have something you want to share.
And as a departing message, my shout out to the Black woman is more so shout out to all Black women. This is for protecting you, as Brother Malcolm X said, because we must, but also in this day and age, we must realize that includes the Black transgender women, because if we don't protect everyone, someone will not be protected. Equality is for all. If you have a butt, you're not for equality. I want equality, but you're not for it. Equality is equality, and worry about yourself. All power, y'all.
Have a good night.
Hey,
Thank you,
Jonathan.
John. That is phenomenal. That is absolutely phenomenal. That brother should run for office. I don't know why he didn't. He's not a mayor. He wasn't mayor, but there's always a second time go around. Hindsight is 2020. Again, for those of you all who live in the city limits of Pensacola, go to savepensacola.com. That's SAVEPENSACOLA.com and fill out the petition. As Jonathan said, someone will contact you at the time that they will come to you. So you don't have to do anything except go online and fill it out. Just savepensacola.com. It will come to you, get your signature. And this is a great opportunity if you're questioning whether or not you're a registered voter or you need to update your voter registration address. You can check the little box in the Save Pensacola web petition so that you are active. They will update your address and you will be in good standing as it's time for the primary and general elections. So thank you, Jonathan. Thank you guys for allowing that to Jonathan to come on to share a little bit about that. And now I guess we will get into what we have been waiting for, which is that wonderful State of the Union that great man, that man that's known as Joseph Ravenel Biden, got up there, drug all those Republican folks. Y'all call him Sleepy Joe, and he's not cognitively aware. I guess he said, "Oh, you want to? I can show you better than I can tell you," and he showed you. Even the fact when he was trolling folks, he came into the State of the Union trolling when he looked at Marjorie Taylor Greene and said,
Yeah.
that was a joke. Man, what's and then she looking like Boo Boo the Fool standing up there, and this y'all kept about Joe Biden, but Joe Biden said 81 ain't nothing. I got it. And I'm gonna show you how well I got it. He wasn't even flipping through that big behind book that was on the podium that he was supposed to stick to his script. He said, "No, I got this. I'm gonna handle y'all tonight." And he handled it. What say you? What are your thoughts, everybody? I'll start. Mr. McIntosh, what do you think?
I thought he started and ended a great speech. He came in swinging as far as talking about democracy and dictatorship. We all knew what he was talking about, so it was no ambiguity about what he was saying. But I thought it was a great speech. I thought he did a great job. I thought he handled the hecklers very well, and he came out with ones that you can't read, right? He was letting them know, yeah, I'm reading, are you? So yeah, it was a whole host of things that he said and did that I really liked. It was great to hear him speak with authority and force after seeing my boy Merrick Garland and Selma. He was talking so low, and he was talking like it was an ordinary year. I'm like, no, bro, this is not no ordinary time. You got to speak with authority and force. You the Attorney General. You the head law enforcement in this country. So you got to talk with force and with power, And I know some people say, no, that just ain't him. Well, you got to come up. He got to come up for real now. You can't put that whole burden on us. As me and Latasha Brown was talking about, they expect us to do everything, and not get the financial resources for doing it. I think they get ready to spend $32 million in ads. That money should be put on the ground around different states rather than just air war. But that's not here or there. But I think the speech was really, really great.
Anybody else? What are your thoughts?
I thought he killed it. Wasn't a sleepy Joe that I saw, so and I think he handled it very well. He responded and he talked directly to them, and I like how he handled himself, and I thought it was a great State of the Union speech.
Christina, you
So
want
I
to say something?
took notes. Yes, so I took notes because that's me. So I just wanted to point out some of the things that and I was texting all through the State of the Union, and it was just amazing. We had a whole watch party out in Gulf Breeze, and we had a great time. So some things I took away. Let's stand up for families, guarantee the right to IVF nationwide. Abortion rights have won in every election since Roe v. Wade was overturned. I loved the comparison. You talked about trolling a minute ago when he was talking about, there's some Republicans in the room. And he's like, I remember a time when Reagan said, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. And he said, the previous guy in charge said, do whatever the hell you want. I was done. I was like, oh. I've never heard him really go after him in a setting like that. And it was memed in 1 minute. I was like, there it is. He said, if Americans send me a Congress that supports the right to choose, I promise I will restore Roe v. Wade as the law of the land. Wall Street didn't build this country. The middle class built this country, and unions built the middle class. Let's cap prescription drug costs at $2,000 a year for everyone. Inflation has dropped from 9% to 3% in the last year. It's the lowest in the entire world. That's huge. Let's give public school teachers a raise. If anyone tries to cut Medicare or Social Security, I will stop it. No one should be jailed just for using or possessing marijuana. Biden will restore voting rights. Trump appointees dismantled the Voting Rights Act. And in 2023, violent crime fell to one of the lowest levels in more than 50 years. Those were just a few of my notes.
You're a good note taker.
Yeah.
You can't just love your country when you win.
Yeah.
It's not how old you are, it's how old your ideas are.
Yeah.
Listen, panel and those viewing us out there, the Republicans are scripted. Biden and the team that drew up that speech knew that Margaret Taylor would act a fool, and they were ready. We know the Republicans' playbook. The speaker sitting behind the president shaking his head, and it's just ridiculous. That's poor leadership, team. It's okay to disagree or to be a Democrat or Republican. It's okay. It's what makes our nation great. But when you don't have the wherewithal to respect the commander-in-chief as you were being beamed out to every nation on earth, that is a serious issue in the halls of Congress, guys. I'm telling you, Republicans as well as Democrats know that Joe Biden hit a home run. I went to sleep with a smile on my face. I watched 2 minutes of K. Britt out of Alabama. 2 minutes was all I could take.
Me too.
I was riding too high. I had the opportunity to view the memes and all of the ridiculousness, but she started out so asinine that I wasn't going to let the viewing people know that I'm out of here. But Joe Biden at 81 years old, other than the stutter impediment, Joe hit a home run. And I was praying for him. Man, I was praying for him when he had those little stutter moments. Man, come on. And he quickly regained control, and he brought it home, man. I went to sleep a proud Dem on that night because Joe Biden proved to the world that he is in his, he's good. He's the man for the job. And somebody said, I saw somewhere he's not the lesser of the two evils. He isn't. He isn't evil at all. And I'm telling you, my bus on Friday was quiet. Didn't nobody want to talk about it. That told me that Joe delivered, man. Look, man, there's nothing bad to talk about. I get so many Republicans on that. I have to hurry up and tell them. When they say something about Biden, I hurry up and say, and I hate Donald Trump. So I go ahead and kill the conversation early. I don't want to hear it. You got to tell that to the next guy. I hate that. I let them know right off the rip. But yeah, it was the speech of the century, you let me tell it.
Yeah.
I loved also when he said no billionaire should pay a lower tax rate than a teacher, a sanitation worker, a nurse.
Amen.
Boom.
Yeah, which is true. And that's what's been happening forever and a day. You know, Vern, we've been talking about this for years.
I know.
These tax cuts that they give the rich. And then when you go to when you go to pay your taxes each year, file your taxes each year, you have such a high bar to reach for the write off something that is a shame, you know. Yeah. But you know, no matter what, that money gonna come out your check the next week.
You know, and the point that he made, I think, and everybody should take a heed to it. And I don't sometimes they understand how corporations don't pay taxes. You know, he said that the average corporation paid on an average, about 8%, compared to the average citizen paying about 21% in taxes. Okay, if you think about the monies, and I think he's on it. If they pay their fair share of taxes, that would solve a lot of economic problems in the United States if they were to do that. But obviously, you got forces at work wanting to protect the rich to keep the rich rich. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was also a reminder that not a single Republican voted for the Inflation Reduction Act that's delivering lower prescription drug costs that are working for families. Not one of the Republicans out there voted for it. Not one. And I want to say I was so proud of the Democratic women, all in white, standing for reproductive rights.
For him to look at the Supreme Court justices as he spoke on Roe, man, was just their faces was just something to see. But like I told someone, the Republicans did not know it, and even Donald Jerome didn't realize it. But when they overturned Roe, they gave us a gift with that. Because like Joe did allude to, that 2022, it's on the ballot, and they underestimate the power of women.
They really don't care. You know, when you see Johnson sitting behind the president of the United States stating what he stated, and then he shake his head as if, no, I didn't say that. We do that.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, we didn't do that. No, you know. I mean, he clutching his pearls and everything up there. I'm like, dude, you said that. You said it. And when he talked about giving more money to, I like that part. He said, you know, we've done more for the environment as far as putting money toward it than anybody. And it's true, because it never did really have done anything about the environment on a level that he has put forth as far as the financing is concerned. You know, he was kind of trying to allude to equity in his speech, but we know that they were going to try to eat him alive on that, you know, because they had already tried. You know, affirmative action and diversity is pretty much dead on a lot of college campuses, especially here and in most of the southern states. And they still going after it in many other states. I mean, when you see it, but you know, I hope that people begin to reconsider their negative thoughts about Joe Biden and his age and all that. Come age, if you know, this man been in politics over 40 some years. He got a lot of wisdom as far as that is concerned, you know. But what they're afraid of is most of all of it is that something might happen to him and Kamala Harris become president of the United States. That's the whole thing behind it. So,
In Selma last week, Jerry, I'm
yeah.
telling you, I finally understood for the first time why America is deathly afraid, man. That woman spoke so eloquently. And that was the first time that I could actually see why America is afraid of the Biden-Harris ticket. You're absolutely right, though. That's the fear.
Yeah, and I've heard her a couple of times. She is just awesome when she speaks, and when she's not scripted. And she's, I mean, she do a great job with the script. No, don't get me wrong, but when she go off script is when you really hear the real Kamala Harris. That's powerful and can
I'm glad that I got a chance to hear her in my lifetime. I was honored.
Jill, what were your thoughts?
Can we take a moment to shout out, like during the State of the Union, that President Biden talked about Selma and highlighted folks from Selma. He said a transformative moment in history happened 59 years ago in Selma, Alabama. Hundreds of foot soldiers marched across the Edmund Pettus Bridge to claim their fundamental right to vote. This is what he said during the State of the Union, and highlighted folks from Selma who made this possible. That was powerful, especially after coming right back from Selma. It was, I can't remember the last time Selma was even mentioned during the State of the Union address. Not saying it hasn't. I just can't recall when it was. But for me, it choked me up.
It was a well put together speech, but the well put together speech would not have meant anything if he could not deliver. He delivered.
Right.
He delivered.
Merrick Garland had a well put together speech, but it wasn't no power behind it.
Right. I mean,
what he was saying was great, but it wasn't being said with the force that I thought. I'm like, really, dude? These are not ordinary times. You got to come with it. And then you're in a church with all this energy and everybody looking for you to come with it anyway. And then when you see people leaning forward trying to hear what he got to say,
that means he's scared to death. All them black folk.
But all that energy,
Jill,
he controlled that energy.
Jill, what were your thoughts?
So I have to admit, I was not going to even watch it. It's really not my thing. However, we got this message from the Florida Democratic Party. They were doing this huge watch party. You didn't have to leave your house. I was like, okay, I'll get on. I signed up for it, invited some people that probably didn't want to go either. And he came out, and when he started speaking, I actually listened to the entire thing, which I don't think I've ever done in my life. Ever. And he not only had a script that was fabulous that they wrote for him, he went off script several times. If you read after, he went off script, handled it, and went right back. I never really thought he was too old or any of that stuff they said, unless you see him on a commercial or something. But that night, I was like, wow, okay. I believe that anybody that watched it, so young people, those people that doubted, like if I was sitting on the fence and it had to do with his age, can he deliver? Is he understanding the issues that we're facing? I think he knocked it out of the park. I think he was most effective because he did the issues that we live with. So housing and the abortion and he really hit home. It's not just pharma prices. It is that there are thousands, hundreds, millions of people who don't have insurance, who need the drugs that they need, and they can't afford it. And without insurance, regular drugs that should be that people, they pay $10, they charge you thousands of dollars. And then I really liked, and you guys probably none of you picked up on this, but for me, He went so deep into our lives that he talked about the bag of potato chips. And I just want you to know, every time I get a bag of potato chips, I'm at the store going, where are my chips? Why am I paying $4 for half a bag of chips? Because he gets it. And so to me, it was like, wow, you are living our life. Like, he doesn't have to. They don't. So on the other side of the aisle, they just don't get it. When they were talking about kids and education and teachers, there's some things that you should just clap for because it's the right thing. You aren't agreeing with him. You're agreeing with the issue. You're agreeing with the people that are giving their lives, that are sacrificing to take over, to protect, to help. And they couldn't even clap their hands or stand up for that. That's when you realize that this party, the two-party system we have, it's broken. It's broken. And what they showed, I'm hoping people that watched it, that they really understood, like, that's what a president's supposed to do.
Yeah.
He's supposed to reach across the aisle. He literally was like, "Oh, okay. So you're gonna vote with me then? If you, I mean, let's talk. Like, we can do it right now." It was that open. Like, he showed that I'm here, and yes, I'm a Democrat, and yes, I understand what I'm up against, but I'm inviting you to my table to do what we need to do for the people. And because of that, I think for me, I don't know that I went to bed with a smile on my face. However, I will tell you that I was like, yeah, that's the president that we need. And for those that were sitting on the fence, I think that he absolutely gave them another reason for them to kick the leg over to the other side. Like, they might still be on, but they're like, okay. So for me, I think I was glad that I stayed and I listened, but it was captivating. He was it was almost like he was at your house, like, just talking, just a normal, everyday, phenomenal man who's saying, hey, I am up against the world. I deal with all this crap that they're throwing at me. And yet I know what you're dealing with at home, and I'm going to be here for you. And you know what, Republicans, MPAs, everybody else, you can be here with me too, because it takes all of us. And I think that was the message. I think I don't know that I will ever listen to another one. So he might have hit it on the mark. No, I won't. Bill, I am not that political, let me tell you. I probably will never listen to another, because he did everything he needed to do. So I'm hoping and knowing that we have a force bigger than us, and that was what he needed to do, and he did it, and he did it well.
I literally went to sleep with a smile on my face. It's so hard for me to understand that the guy that I had just viewed would vote for a guy that talks. His voice rises and drops, and it's hard to believe that a rational, reasonable person would vote for that over Joe. I think we had some people on the fence that were persuaded. Joe did his due diligence, and between now and November, Joe has to continue to just keep the gloves off, because Joe has kept the gloves on for 3 years. And Joe has been passive, docile, the whole nine, but Joe took them gloves off. He said today on one of the shows I was watching that he loves campaigning, getting out, being amongst the people. But if Joe continues to drive this thing home, I just find, and all I keep hearing is that the election in November is going to be close. I don't anticipate it being as close as they would have us to believe. I believe Joe is going to pull his pants down and spank his little bottom blue.
So
can you just ask Bill? Could you please have Bill give us his new prediction? Not the bottom blue mess, but just the new prediction.
Hey, my prediction stands, Derek. Well, yeah, I have to renege. He will be the nominee. But he will not.
Wait a minute. Oh, wait.
Hey, man.
So let's put you on full screen.
Hey, man,
so
I'm a realist now. I'm eating
one more time.
I'm eating my words. I did not think he would be, but he will be the Republican nominee. Guys, I'm glad he's the Republican nominee. We can beat this guy. We know we can beat this guy. But I just anticipated something happening that would not allow him to be. But he will be. One state left, and he will clinch. But hey, our guy Joe is our guy, and I'm looking forward. You know what I wouldn't do, though? I would not dignify him with a debate. I would not. He didn't dignify any of the Republican candidates with a debate. And if I was Joe, with what they experienced 4 years ago, and this clown can't debate because he doesn't really know the issues, I wouldn't dignify him with a debate.
You have now heard it officially, Joe. You write it down. We can all write it down on this Sunday, March the 10th. Bill Snow has changed his prediction and has given us obvious. A new prediction. The one that we can all agree on now. And so we thank you for that. I appreciate that. I will say, for me personally, and I'm gonna say it as DEC chair. So even if somebody comes back and says, "Oh, he doesn't need to be in there," this is literally the first time that I have ever watched the State of the Union address. Right, yeah, I'm saying it. This is the first time that I've watched it. I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. And to be clear, I was gonna watch it this year, but Joe said, "No, Derek, we have to go. It's the Florida Dems. They did a virtual watch party. We have to be on the screen." And I said, "I ain't watching it. I don't care." But she said, "No, Derek, we have to do it." And so what I planned to do was turn on my Zoom and have my picture on the screen and dip out and go do something else. Because I was like, I'm not watching this. I have no desire to watch it. But I literally sat there in awe from the beginning to the end and was like, well, wait a minute. Where is this President Joe Biden? Like, to your point, he's been trying to play nice. See, that's why I've been telling people about playing nice with people. Because playing nice with people have people trying you and talking to you crazy and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. When you're sure for who you are the first time, they'll try you again. So I wish that, to your point, that Joe Biden had been this Joe Biden, year 1, year 2, and year 3. So now we wouldn't be like, "What? Where's this Joe Biden?" Here's what I tell people about allowing people to play in your face. And so I appreciate Joe. I was actually enthralled with his address. I appreciated him. I live for when he's talking back to Jill's point, when he went off screen and was like, "Well, wait a minute now. Can you read? I know I can read. Are you reading? Can you read?" And again, the infamous Marjorie Taylor Greene look. That's forever gonna go down in history, where he looked at her like she was Boo Boo the Fool in the very beginning. I appreciate stuff like that. See, I operate best in those type of environments. I appreciated it. I liked it. I hope. I wish we had another State of the Union before election cycle, so people can say, "Oh, this is not," because people are like, "Oh, this was just a one-off occurrence." No. That's who that man is. And I wish we would have seen him again before 2024, operating this capacity. But now that we have, and we know that he is capable, I to your point, I hope that this has dispelled some of the questions around his mental capacity and stuff like that. Because anybody who can go off script, get you together, and then get right back on the script, it's all right with me. You can't tell me there's any kind of concern. That man checked folks real time and then got right back. He said, "Hold on, American, get right back with you." He got right with those folks and got right back on top. So I appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, and didn't lose.
But
I was gonna say he didn't lose his position. When he got off script, he went right back to it. He didn't where was I at?
Where he left off. He didn't go, "Where was I at?" He said, "Okay, let me get you together," and then get right back to the subject matter. All right, I appreciate that, because even I will try to say something to somebody like, "No, what was I saying again?" And I have to get back to it. That man said, "Nope, I got it."
The one of the things that
I got it.
That amazes me about it, I'm sitting here listening to you and Jill and you guys and ladies are intimately involved into politics, intimately involved in the Democratic Party, and I was a little flabbergasted to hear you saying that either one of you wasn't intending to listen to the speech at all. But I'm glad you did. But hold on now, Derek. I'm glad that you did. But you know what? But you know it tells me then that if you guys that as intimately involved in the party don't go that far, that's probably many other people that's not intimately involved with it don't go that far. But the good thing about what y'all did for me, to me, and I think, is that when you did get involved with it, you were glad that you did. You know, it kind of reminds me of people when they talk about Minister Farrakhan. They always have certain things to say about Minister Farrakhan, only because they hadn't sit down and listened to his speeches. Okay, you sit down and listen to him, or Malcolm X, or anybody like that, folks that you don't disagree with. Maybe you sit down and listen to them, and maybe you find reason to agree with them. And I think people that took the time, that was sitting on the fence, or was those folks that wasn't interested, if they heard the Joe Biden speech, then maybe it made a difference. It makes a difference in lives, and I think it made a lot of difference in a lot of people's lives that heard it or heard about it. And so that's just a testament. Just sit. Sometimes we got to sit there and listen. And my junior high school principal would say, you'll be surprised what you learn when you listen. So, but anyway, that's my little 2 cents in there.
Well, it was 30 million people listening to him that night. 30 million. That's quite a few people that can talk to. 30 million talking to. If they talk to two people, that's 90 million right there. Yeah. If they are concerned and like the speech, and and have some memorization of what he said. I mean, that's powerful.
But Jerry, the best part about it though, I hadn't, and I keep trying to keep up on the newsreel stuff. I hadn't heard anybody say anything negative about it. Even his naysayers, they always say, "Well, it was too long, or it was too loud." Some non-issue stuff. Yeah. But they didn't. They couldn't say that he didn't do a good speech.
Right. They couldn't.
Jerry said 30 million people watched. So thanks to Jill and Derek, that was 30 million and two.
Yeah.
I want to say, Jill, to your point when you said, and to Derek's point as well, Jill, what you said hit me when you said it felt like he was right in your living room. And Derek, I think that goes to the point of, when he went off script, and it was very personal. It was very personal when he was like, I've lost a child, and that clearly wasn't scripted. I know what it's like to lose a child. When he was talking about immigration and he was talking about, okay, so there's an immigration problem. There's a bill. Send it to me. I'll sign it. Yeah. When he was talking about the bipartisan immigration plan, it was just such an amazing, amazing night. It was just such an amazing night. And going back to VP Harris, her faces throughout the whole everything was just absolutely phenomenal. Like her face said 1,000 words with every single thing. And Joe, what you were saying, about the two-party system truly being broken, like you can't stand up for education, like you can't stand up for teachers getting a raise. Like you're going to sit down to that we're just that polarized. It's heartbreaking. It's really, really heartbreaking that there is not one piece of common ground because of who is stating it. And I think that goes to where we are today and why there's so much hurt. Because this, so for me, I love the State of the Union. This is like my Super Bowl. I get so excited. Like This is like my Super Bowl moment. I mean, I set things up. I was just so upset. I didn't even, I wanted to bring big cutouts and have little door prizes and stuff, which I had door prizes, but I didn't have the big cutouts. But like, this is my Super Bowl party. This is, you work so hard to get someone into office. And then this is the moment where they're telling you really where we're at, what they've seen, and the direction our country is going to go. And so for me, these are the types of moments I look for, and I really hope that there's a debate. I remember the last debates. President Joe Biden was like, "Man, shut up! Would you just shut up?" During the debate to Trump.
You can't debate a clown. Can't debate a clown. He's a clown. You can't debate a clown. But I've always been a State of the Union guy, way back during Ronald Reagan and all of them, man. I've always been. I want to know what the State of the Union is. I want to know what has been done, what we plan to do, and where we're headed. I've always been a State of the Union guy.
That's because you guys are much more political than.
Well, two things I would say, so, and I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound. I don't want this to come off negative, but for some people, not with Biden, but some of the people that tell you the State of the Union is what's in their head, what they think is going to happen. They're not going to do a damn thing. Yeah. So I don't need to listen to you tell me what you think you're going to do, what you want me to believe you're going to do, when I'm living the reality of what is not getting done. So I don't need to watch TV for that. However, with Biden, he switched it around and he brought it home. I'm just being real.
Yeah.
If I can't pay my bills and I'm at home and you're telling me that the economy's great and there's jobs out there, there might be before you because you're sitting in the White House, but I'm sitting in Jill's house and Jill don't have the same thing you have. So therefore you're not talking to me. This time, Biden actually talked to us. He talked to you about your rent. He talked to you about your kids, your school, your guns, violence, everything. He brought it home to you. So I would say, I don't want to break the mold. I can't promise you, Vernon, that I'm going to watch the next one. I can't promise you. Okay, I'm not going to lie. I want to be who I am. However, the other thing I noticed was that when they fact checked him, most of what he said was absolutely true. And even in the parts where they said, well, it's not quite true, it was that he didn't explain it. Not that he didn't tell the truth, just that he needed to maybe give some more context to it. So that in itself, to me, should have showed everybody else, because when that other person speaks, all of it's lies. And they just be like, false, 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 false. He just makes up stuff. This time, they gave him real facts, real information, and he shared it. And so I absolutely am next. I can pretty much guarantee you, Christina, I am not having no Super Bowl State of the Union party ever in my life. I'm not doing it. But I think for all of us, I think that's why we get along so well on here, is because we all bring different sides. So yes, Vernon, I'll tell you, I am deeply in the Democratic Party by titles and by work. But I'm not, I don't like politics. That's just the truth. I like people. I like people. I like people to be able to be helped and to be educated and to be able to vote. It's different than Christina, who loves politics and would go work for Vice President Kamala Harris tomorrow. Unless I'm putting on an event for her and doing logistics and program and direct, that kind of stuff, I wouldn't. She would. But we all come to this table with such backgrounds that we can relate, hopefully, to our viewers that are watching, and they can say, oh, I can relate to that. And what? Derek and Jill, all that stuff they do, and they are in this Christina, who's like, I'm throwing a Super Bowl party. But we're honest. And so what you get from the show is that we're honest, everyday people.
Yeah. My mom just texted me. She's watching the show and she's like, I cannot believe you just said what you just said on the TV. Like, you sound crazy. Don't tell nobody that. And so I'm like, it's true. I don't. Like, I mean, it is what it is. But again, to your point, I am here for people and I'm here for the benefit of all people, not just one group of folks, not to the detriment of another group of folks, but for all people. You know, if that manifests itself in the work that we're doing as the Democratic Party, then that is where we will be until said time that it's not. Then it is what it is. But that is where we are with that. But I am curious in the next 10 minutes that we have, as we watched and we were so enthused with the performance of our wonderful President Joseph Robinette Biden. Were you equally as enthused with the Republican response to the State of the Union? I know, Bill, you said I'm out. I can't go. I can't watch this. But what was your impression of the I hate to call it anything but a Stepford wife, but the craziness that they put on as their Republican response? Anybody thoughts?
My question is, are there any sane people left in the Republican Party? I swear to God, I tried to watch it. I honestly tried to watch it. That's my wife. I couldn't take no more of it. I had to go, and I was thinking when she first came on, I said, "Oh my God, Saturday Night Live gonna have a field day here."
Oh, they did too.
I know they did. They sure did. They're gonna have a field day. I watched
it last night. I'm like, bam, bam.
And I tried to sit there and watch it and see what she's gonna say, but she was just, this dramatic, all of this stuff. God damn! I mean, are there any sane people in the Republican Party? That's what I want to know. Just tell me. Show us your biggest, your brightest, greater than your brightest. They seem to me they're sending all the crazies out, and there got to be some left. Got to be some good Republicans. If there's any good Republican conduct, come on the show. We'll listen to you honestly.
The only, the MAGA, the maggots or mega or whatever they name it, they are the one that's
the maggots.
Out. Yeah, maggots. Yeah. They're the ones now, running their mouths. And when you listen, when they interviewing these people on the side, that's what really gets me. I'm like, and all these years, they've been saying that we was inferior. When you hear the response, when they ask the question, it just, I'm like, really? Just the response. But I wanted to say also that Joe Biden talked about the child tax credit that pulls a half of the children up out of poverty. And that need to be reinstated again, the child tax credit. If we can give money to every other, major money to other countries, that's the least that we can do is make sure that our children are protected and healthy and eating and have a shelter over their head. And that helped a lot of people, that child tax credit. And then the Republicans made sure that it didn't go through again because it was helping so many people. It didn't just, and they wanted to try to focus it on Black people, but poor whites and more middle class white was benefiting from that child tax credit because you didn't have to be you had to be making, I guess, less than like $400,000 a year to get it, but which is great because that's the majority of America, So I wish there's some kind of way that we could get the Congress back so that we could pass that child tax credit again indefinitely, so that it can get to Joe Biden's desk and be signed into law, so that. But also there was, he hit on the insurrection for a minute, how, they did the Capitol, how they took over the Capitol. So it was a lot of things that he hit on that he brought it home for the American people, those who listen and those who are getting the snippets from it, whether it's on social media or the media and all of that. But it's been running since he's made his speech. So, which is really great.
Yeah, when I look at Katie Britt, the senior Alabama senator, apparently she's supposed to be good. I would say in terms of her background, she ran the Alabama Chamber of Commerce, so she's supposed to be smart. She co-authored the legislation that was supposed to be the border bill that went through Senate, and then she acquiesced. And they allowed them to put her in the kitchen and deliver this old crazy behind speech where she's like, And then going to deliberately lie to folks and try to talk about the lady that she talked to who was trafficked and made it seem like it was under Joe Biden. And then even the media is like, boo, you lying. And so now just yesterday, this morning, she was trying to walk it back on the news, like, well, I didn't mean, I said she was a woman. It clearly she was 12 years old and now she's a woman. But why didn't you just say you lied? Just say you lied. I tried to lie, it backfired. Even people, well, if I referred to her as a woman and I said it happened when she was 12 years old, I couldn't have meant that it happened under Joe Biden if she's a woman and she was 12 years old. And just say, my bad, I got caught in my lie. I tried to deliberately deceive the American people and think that Joe Biden had something to do, when in fact, it wasn't during his administration. And hell, it wasn't even in this country, in the United States. It backfired, and now you look like Boo the Fool. I mean, you look like Boo the Fool when you sitting in your kitchen. I didn't understand the whole kitchen concept. I was like, why are you in the kitchen? That's the one thing I kept asking. Why is she in the kitchen? She don't have no place else. She don't have no office in her house.
Well,
Why is she in the kitchen?
Now, you know, Derek, that Republicans says that their wives don't need no watch. There's a clock on the stove. You know that.
It was just confusing. I was like, what? The whole time I was focused, I'm like, and why is she talking like that? Is she on medication or something wrong with her? It's like, I was like, did she talk? I'll ask you, do you talk like that in real life? Because I was just a little confused and concerned. And then, it was funny the way the media portrayed it immediately after. Oh, she decimated President Biden. She delivered this profound address until Republicans were like, what the hell was that? And then all of a sudden they're like, oh no, she was bad. She was this. Well, wait a minute now. Come on now. She was bad when y'all said, oh, she decimated Joe Biden. She didn't. She looked like crazy. She's crazy. If this is your best and your brightest, God help Republicans, because I don't know what to tell you. This is your rising star. Baby, your galaxy is falling. Everything is falling. It's a shooting star. It's a comet, because this is garbage. Y'all are garbage. If this is what you're offering, if this is your best and your brightest, just shut it on down. Close up shop and start anew, because this ain't it.
That should give us the Republican Party concern. Folks like Katie Britt and folks like Marjorie Taylor Greene, and what's that crazy one out in Arizona? That did the guy a hand job in the movie theater.
That's Colorado.
It's Colorado.
Bobert.
Yeah, Bobert, and
Blackburn,
and that crazy one that's in the Senate now. That's
Green.
They're all.
Oh yeah, I guess we got a few minutes. I got 5 books I want to recommend.
Oh, sure.
For women, they by women. We got Beyonce. Beyonce. Running the World. It's a biography with Ann Parter. We have My Life and My Love, My Legacy, Coretta Scott King. Then I have Favor, God's Grace to a Mother's Prayer by Lois Diane Pruitt, who is watching the show tonight.
That's a viewer, isn't
it? Yeah.
Miss Lois. Shout out to Miss Lois. What's the name of the book again? Put it up so we can see it.
Favor.
All right.
It says God's Grace to a Mother's Prayer.
A great read. Great read.
Great read. Then The Truth We Hold, An American Journey. We all know who she is. Kamala Harris. And then I got another entertainer, More Myself, A Journey. Alicia Keys. Love her singing. But to the end of the month, we're gonna do at least 2 to 3 books of None But Ladies. on their writings and all of that. But all of those are great reads. But Favor is one of my favorite books because you have to read it to really know what she's saying. And
Yes.
Lois Diane Pruitt is. She watched the show every Sunday.
Yes.
And she's been on the show a few times.
Sure has.
Yeah.
All right.
Derek,
Well, certainly, on behalf of, let me first start by saying, if y'all didn't know, I think the Trump people must be watching our show because I told them that they should call J.G. Wentworth, and all of a sudden the man came back and was able to post his bond with his 96 million. So we're gonna have to stop giving them ideas, so they don't move back and forth. So that was my bad. But certainly, on behalf of all of our panel, our voices, we certainly thank you for tuning in with us. We hope that you check us out next week on the 17th at 7 p.m. We will be right back with you. Until then, have a great evening, productive week, and make sure you're registered to vote. Have a great night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks. Good night, sir.
Good night.
Have a good night, y'all. See y'all next week.